What's up, boys? Second channelers. How goes it? Today I was just gonna go over, I guess, some of my thoughts. As the month comes to a close and we go towards February, um, I'm about to enter 1 year since my last serious relationship, which is interesting. I recently wrote like a couple projects. I read a lot, um, shown like my various notebooks pretty recently, I think. But I wrote I wrote a couple projects. So I have two open right now, and one I'm almost done with. I'm probably on like the last like 5 or 7 pages, and the other one I probably have like 50 left. That's generally 100 pages each, and so I started one around November 13th ish, because I basically had a situation where I had come into contact with the person that I am no longer with, and they just kind of mercilessly laid into me pretty hard. Um, Not all undeserved, I suppose. I mean, hmm, I should be more charitable than myself. I deserve a lot of things in this world. Generally, everything I have coming to me. I don't think I deserve that. I think I was generally better to her than what I got, which is difficult. Um, so after that, I started a project called The Human Condition, which was a very humbling experience, I guess. To some extent, I'm kind of sociopathic tendencies, kind of narcissistic tendencies, and there is a tendency to think that you are kind of above it all, and that because you lack certain emotions, you might just lack all of emotions. Um, Not the case. Not the case. At the end of the day, I bleed like any other man, um, and things can send me spiraling, just like they can send anybody spiraling. Um, it it was a weird experience because in having that happen to me, it was horrible to the extent to where I at first almost regretted my actions, and I realized I didn't regret my actions. I just wanted her to not say those things to me. So I'm like, oh well, I regret the consequences, I suppose, but you can't really regret consequences. You only live with them. Um, and so it's kind of like an eye-opening thing to where, okay, so I need someone who's not going to do that to me, ideally, right? Like in terms of like when I show my belly, my full vulnerability, if I'm never going to do that to somebody, I need them to never do that to me, among other things. And I realized that I'm just like, I don't know, I maybe I'm too picky. Like I don't understand. I have to like find somebody with those criteria because to some extent I do enjoy being alone. Like the time I've spent alone has been quite serene almost. But to some extent, like I do need another person to like survive, right? Like I can feel myself kind of freaking out every second I don't have someone near me. Um, I have, like I have cravings and urges for things that are frankly um, unsightly, we'll say. And I get to avoid a lot of those things by spending time with other people and filling in, um, you know, cravings with different, like, I suppose, healthier things. Um, and the idea that I'm like falling deeper into those when I don't have companionship, like I did when I was much younger, is probably not great, especially when you consider the fact that I've been on the right side of the law for almost like 7 years now. Um, so uh, it's a little difficult to have a reality to where, I mean, it's not like I have no agency over myself. I just know myself. I know it'd be a much harder battle without a companion to help me. Um, but on the other side, it would be a challenge. It would be another thing to conquer of myself. And I suppose, conquered like a lot of different aspects of myself, from like emotion to anger, um, to willpower, to like all of these things that I've kind of knocked down one by one, things that satisfy me greatly. Um, Maybe this is just another one of those, to where using another person as a crutch is perhaps a weakness that I won't find satisfactory with myself, and maybe that will drive me to stay alone until I feel like I've fully conquered it and then enter again. I also don't know how healthy is that is, because I am also, I don't know if I'm going back to therapy, because the person I was talking to about it, is um no longer necessarily motivating me for that. And if I'm not really motivated, I don't see why I would do it. Just because like the novelty is there, but it just depends, right? Like I have set up the schedule, but they haven't contacted me back, which means that they could have issues, or perhaps like I'm gonna have to find another office and make sure they're within insurance. And like these aren't things that I would never want to do. It's just more work, and my ego is kind of growing again, and I guess I'm self aware about that. So maybe I'll give it a try just because I feel like it. But yikes. Um, yeah, I'm super alone. I'm ridiculously, insanely alone. Um, I I don't I don't know what to do. To some extent, I'm thinking about trying to find somebody like me, but I'm also a little skeptical about that, just because I think if I were a woman, I'd be way different. Because I've been humbled a lot by life. And I'm like a pretty good looking, intelligent guy. I'm pretty like emotionally connected as well. So it's like I think there's an ego to be had there, over just like the quality of man that I am. However, life will just humble the fuck out of you so many times over. It really doesn't matter what kind of man you are, because life will humble a man repeatedly. Um, Sometimes life will not humble a woman. So, like, to find somebody with like my similar disposition, I don't know what that would look like in a woman. Seems actually like very dangerous to me. I don't think we would vibe well, and I think it'd be kind of scary. Um, as long as they don't like hurt me, and I don't know, like as I grow more comfortable with myself, like my cravings are also not as crazy. Like I remember, probably, if we were to say late November, if early November I was very emotional, like late November, I realized that like my more dastardly cravings were just really in full swing. Like I was really going nuts. I was like splitting into like two people, and it was kind of nuts, right? Like in my head, I'm like, I have the power to move mountains. I have the will to crush those mountains. I have the greed to consume them. And I mean, to some extent, like that ego is not, it's not wrong. Like I mean, I can do most of the things I want to, but like the price is horrific. um the and the worst part about it is I pay that price, right? I'm like cool, like hell yeah, I'm gonna do this, right? And then I have to live with that. And to some extent, like I can look back and I can look at all the beautiful memories that I've created, and realize that the fruits of my labors are there. um but like, is that worth it? I mean, kind of. To some extent it's kind of worth it, to some extent it's kind of not. um I I literally, I don't want to be different. Um, Sometimes I feel like a need to be different, to be accepted, but I don't like want to. The idea that I can just kind of go and do whatever I want is a very appealing one. And all I have to do is sacrifice everything that makes me human. And it's like wow, easy deal. And it's like, wait, I mean, easy deal? Question mark. Um, yeah. And I don't know, the rest of what is, me breaking down mentally in that section of notes is frankly kind of disgusting. I don't know if that's ever anything I would be willing to share online. But rest assured, I do keep myself under wraps. But I'm nuts. I'm like actually crazy. Uh, and I don't want to fix it, and I do know what to do about it, and I choose not to. I don't know. We go towards another day, I guess. Another day of whatever this is. Hopefully, we find somebody. Deuces, guys. Take it easy.